But you know, once this is all over, then we can sort of say, yeah. But even then, just like, let's just say, not so much Splinter Cell Conviction, because that is just definitely a sequel. The new Prince of Persia, that is a case of, it's a one-off game that only certain people will like. Okay, even FF13 to agree. However, but I'm not gonna pick on 13, because 13, like every other Final Fantasy, is different. Let's not put 13 on some stupid pedestal of shame and say, oh, it's the worst Final Fantasy, because no, shut up. It's a great attempt at a next gen Final Fantasy. And besides, isn't there a certain 13.2 coming out next year for all of you people to rip apart as well, even though it's exactly what you wanted. You wanted a 13 with towns, and now you're getting that. And you probably still won't be happy anyway. And if you ask me, 13 isn't a game that needs to do that. I mean, to completely deviate from Devil May Cry for a second, they did a Metal Gear Solid Rise, no, not even Metal Gear Solid Rising, a Metal Gear Solid 3 Raiden to FF13. You know, the parody of Raiden in MGS3, making fun of him and basically ripping him apart because people didn't like him in MGS2. That's a completely different argument. However, it's basically disregarding and kind of completely discriminating against 13 to make 13.2 it like that. I mean, I'm sure it'll be a fun game for some reason. I'm still getting it. Hell yeah, Final Fantasy, man. But I feel that by doing this, appealing to fans is not a word. It's more like appealing to whiners. I mean, if in a way, actually, I can sort of link this to Devil May Cry. If you keep, let's just say they made this new Dante, and people just whine, which they did. You know, I will admit, myself included. But if they just listened to whiners and didn't think about progress and innovation, and maybe just going for a new direction, they would have just made Dante look the same, created the same game, and then whatever happens, right? But instead, they said, screw that, we're gonna go with our gut instinct, we're gonna bring this new product to you. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, whatever. But I feel that a lot of days now, like a lot of devs, nowadays, all they do is try to appeal to the whiner. Like, someone whines about something, like his own personal problem, or perhaps a group of people's problems with a game, be it gameplay, design features, whatever. Then what do developers do? They just they patch it. They make DLC. They do all these things to basically, you know, kill the game. Just, I mean, which is good. I mean, look, in the first place, in our modern day of technology, we do have DLC, we do have patches, we do have these things that can allow us to, you know, basically edit our games without having to make a whole new one, for example. You know what I mean? Like, you know, patches and DLC, like I mentioned. But I feel that one of the biggest examples of let's appeal to whiners is Capcom, sadly enough. Two things. First one, AE 2012. Second one, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I'm not going to get into long or short of why those games are still okay, why people will buy them, why they'll be fun, blah, 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 blah. But they're basically, I hate to quote someone on this one, but they're basically apology editions. They're basically saying, oh, I'm sorry you didn't like our product. Here is a completely new version for you to like, or maybe not, rip it apart, then we'll make a new one. It's like, you know, whatever happens to give people a game, let them enjoy it or not, see success or not, and then make a new game based on that. Or perhaps, you know, just go for innovate. Why does it have to be that if a couple of haters come together, write a few angry messages, and then boom, let's just make an apology edition? See, a game like Call of Duty, that's not necessarily like an apology edition. That's a sequel. It takes features that perhaps maybe either they or people or community feedback, whatever, thought wasn't great, so they take out some stuff, like they took out like next to every perk in Modern Warfare 2, which is fair enough. But if anything, I don't hate Call of Duty, because all that really is finding a new way to make the game evolve, adding new features. Because if it weren't for this strike packages and point streak stuff, then I would feel that all they were really doing was appealing to whiners as well. But that's not the case. But the fact is that I don't think that, and I mean, in regards to 13.2, as a game itself, I wish that 13.2 in a way could have just been a completely different FF altogether. I would have accepted it more. But the fact that 13.2, even with its story, like destroying the ending of FF13, which I think was perfect, to basically transport Lightning to some other dimension where, you know, it's a time warp and she screwed up and the world wasn't saved or something. That to me just sounds like you're taking 13 and breaking it apart. I mean, what bothers me about game devs appealing to whiners is You appeal to whiners, but what about the fans?